What's going on, guys? Back here again today with another stock review for the MP5K with a sweet little adapter from JMac Customs. Now, JMac Customs is primarily an AK-47 company that does a lot of upgrades for AK-47s, offer a lot of products. But in talking with them, they decided that they wanted to branch out and do something for the MP5K. Now, where this was born from was they had one of their shooters shooting MP5K in competition, and the factory choke stock came undone in a few of his runs. So I'm not sure how it happened exactly, but when he was shooting, something was going on, and the hinge mechanism actually opened up and it folded on him as he was shooting. Now, these metal brackets and this particular choke setup, their setup, HK setup, this spring is not really tight, but it provides a good enough amount of stability. There is always a little wobble there, but that was the design of the time. So what they've done is taken the Sig approach to attaching some stocks. So they've custom machined this product for the MP5K with a pick rail in the back, so it accepts Sig style stocks. Now, the advantages you'll get to that, you'll see when we're at the range. But basically, we're going to just install this, show you what it looks like, get to the range, and do some shooting. All it is, just like any other install for MP5 stock, goes in just like any other one would. Take your pins. Now, the way they machined it, the tolerance is pretty tight. So, they don't just pop in easy with minimal pressure. You really got to make sure you can push them in, and it is a solid hookup. It's going nowhere. And the quality is just really top notch. Machined aluminum, the whole nine. And from talking with Justin at JMac, the owner, he was saying they went through various different builds, MP5Ks, companies that make MP5Ks, to find which ones wouldn't accept the adapter due to spec. Now, as you know, you've probably seen my movies before. I had to take material out of the choke stock. I've had to do a lot of modifications to get stocks. The lower was the same way. Had to modify pinholes because even though Zenith claimed, it's made on HK tooling, HK spec, not everything is always in spec. So some modification may be required. So this, I was expecting the same. This, I did not need to do anything. It went right in. Tolerance is tight. I almost thought it wouldn't fit, but it fit. So we're good. No need to modify anything there. So get a feel for them, get a feel for the setup with the pick rail versus the factory setup folding stocks. My favorite stock is the choke folding stock just because it's original. It has that classic look for the MP5K. But this is a cool option if you're looking at just changing it up, putting a few different options, well, getting different options as far as stocks go, just to make it your own, and if you want the adjustability. So what you're gaining from the pick rail setup, which is from Sig, this is how Sig attaches their stocks to the MPX. What you're gaining is adjustability up and down. So with the choke, you're not getting that. You're getting just wherever it sits, which is probably about this level. So if you want to run an optic, depending on how high your riser is on an optic or how high the optic is just in general, you're not going to get a cheek weld if it's all the way up here. So your stability is completely gone there. So what's nice about the Sig setup is you can just take this screw, loosen it up, and adjust this up or down, and we'll look at that in a little bit. But let's just take a couple quick shots just like this, and we'll get a feel for all the stocks and see which ones I like the best, but just get a good feel for it. So here we go. So just with those couple quick shots, what I will tell you right off the bat is, being this is just a bare metal stock, you do feel it in your cheek. I mean, it's not enough to make you stop shooting, but you feel it. 9mm isn't that big of a recoil, so it's not like it's smacking you in the face, but you feel it. I mean, this is a solid piece. So real quick, let's change it. Let's throw the other one on, see how that compares. All right, so here we are with the adjustable Sig stock. Still attached the same way, everything's the same, but what you're gaining with this one is a better position for your cheek as far as being comfortable, and you get the adjustability of the different points of locking. That one's all the way out here, goes in Another one there. It's 2, 3. Actually, it's 4. 4 all the way in. But now this all the way in, this is very short. Compare this to the smallest choke stock that I reviewed in the video forever ago. The smallest one with the butt pads completely off without the extension. This is very small. So I mean, coming in really close for me, I mean, my face, as you can see, is right up on the gun. And I personally, I just don't like it that close. I mean, but if you're wanting to use this for any sort of home defense, this may be a good option for you because it's so compact. If you had to come in clear rooms, in and around the hallways, I mean, it's small, it's in close to your body. And the same thing, it folds, again, very tight. This one also lays very flat, as you can see. Lays very flat. This one, very stiff, as you can see. I'm telling you, it's very stiff. But that's good, because you want that stability. I'm 5'11", so I'm not that tall, and my arms aren't super long, but that made me feel just a little cramped. This feels more comfortable here. So, unlike the metal stock, the skeletonized stock, you have just a little bit better of a cheek weld here as far as being comfortable, because you have that more surface area. Now, it is just plastic, it's not padded, but it does feel better. That's the adjustable one. What we'll do is we'll throw the next one on, see what that one looks like. All right, so here's the last Sig stock that I have. This is the tubular one. This one here is threaded to accept buffer tube, so you could put, if you got this setup, you could put whatever buffer tube, mag pull, whatever setup you wanted to put on this particular one. But this is another offering from Sig. The downside to this one though is the way that it's made with the tube. It doesn't really allow for it to sit very close next to the body. So the tube hits the rear of the receiver, which doesn't really allow it to sit flush against the receiver. But, I mean, it is a lot easier to open and close. So what I will say about this one is it is a little bit more comfortable than the skeletonized thin stock, because there's just more of that surface area there. It is a little shorter than I would like, but I do like how it has the option of being able to remove this should you want to, and putting your own buffer tube setup of whatever stock you wanted to put on. But this one's not bad. The only downside, like I said, is it just doesn't fold and lay flat. If I had to pick one that I like the best, looks-wise, the skeleton. Shootability, though, I like the adjustable stock because it just gives you the option for the various lengths for whatever application you're looking at. All right, so what I've done is I've thrown one of probably the biggest optic I have as far as height-wise, EOTech. So with the EOTech on the mount Zenith came with, you can see, I mean, it's huge. I mean, as far as height over bore, I mean, it's just high. So I did was just took a guess. I just threw the stock on any of the positions to see where that fell as far as the height that I needed for my face. So here, I'm way too low. So standard MP5K style stocks with no adjustability that way. And I'll show you that as soon as we're done shooting this. The only problem is it's a little hard to get to the charging handle. I'll tell you what, that felt good. Still had the same situation where this was a little on the uncomfortable side to shoot just because it is that hard metal stock. But if you're asking me, again, it's very stiff. I think it looks the best as far as being the most compact and just has the great skeletonized look about it. So now I'll throw back on the other stocks, the factory type stocks, and I'll show you the difference of how this looks compared to that as far as optic shoot. Alright, so back to just the normal choke stock, and as you can see, that spring, or the setup, the locking mechanism is a little different as far as how stable it is. I mean, look, this is very loose, very easy to get this thing open and closed. So That's one of the benefits you're getting from the Sig over these, is that it's just a lot more stable or tight to get that unlocked. As you can see with the factory ones compared to the Sig, they do sit lower. There's no adjustability there for height, for any use for optics. So, but with this one, if I rest all the way down and put my cheek on the stock, where I would be eye level with just the iron drum sights, I've got nothing. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I mean, the sight window is all the way up here, and I'm all the way down here. I'm just looking into the back of the optic that says EOTech. So I can't even use this without completely bringing my head off the stock, and I gotta have my chin on the stock to give me a cheek weld to even see. Now I'll shoot like that, but I can already tell you it's uncomfortable. It feels wrong. It doesn't feel good to shoot like that. Now, normally I don't run an optic on the MP5K. I keep it pretty in like classic form with no optic and just use the iron sights. But I can see how there are a lot of people would want to run an optic on anything that they shoot. So that option to have the adjustability, I think, is great and is something that was needed for this platform, because a lot of people say this is a dated platform. You know, it's old. You got the Scorpions that are out now, even the MPXs, which I don't particularly care for myself. I'm not a Sig guy, so I never bought one of those, even though I thought the idea of them was cool. But that is a nice little touch to bring this dated platform a little bit into the 21st century, to give some adjustability there, to be able to use the optics, you know, should you want to. Let me throw on the UMP stock and see how that compares with this one as far as the sight and being able to get a good sight picture with a cheek weld. And I'm pretty sure when I used to run it like that before, I had the same issues, but the UMP is a thicker stock, so it may not be as difficult. All right guys, UMP stock. Now just basically going off of this stock, obviously I got more of a length of pull here, which is what I originally liked about this stock. But even still, I'm still at that basically same plane I was with the choke stock, as far as it may be just a little higher. I'm down here where I should be. Great for the irons, horrible for the EOTech. Now maybe a little different if you want to run like a micro or just like a small red dot. But with something this large, you just can't. You need to have your chin on it to even get a sight picture. And again, the same as the last stock, I know this is really going to be uncomfortable. So, long story short, if you want to run an optic on the MP5K, you need the adjustability, because you're not getting it with these. So, if I wouldn't have had the Sig stock, I wouldn't have been able to use this optic at all with any sort of reliability as far as being able to stay on target, because I can't get that cheek weld. I can't get it to sit nice and be able to see without having to raise my head all the way up. All right guys, again, don't forget to check out JMac Customs. I'll link to their Instagram below. You can check out all their pictures of all the stuff they do for AKs, and it's really cool that they branched out to do some stuff for the MP5K. So real quick, we'll just end off with just a quick overview of all the stocks, what they look like side by side, and let's call it a day. The MPX style stock is slightly longer than the adjustable Sig stock that's all the way open. So that's as far as that goes, as far as length is. It's a little longer also than the tubular stock, but all of them are a little shorter. Well, even the longest one with the skeletonized one is still shorter than the choke stock, and obviously shorter than the UMP style stock. So that's what you're looking at when it comes to length. And if you actually were to collapse this one all the way in, you'll see how short that is. Look at that now. That is super, super short. I mean, if you wanted a really small compact stock, that's the one you're gonna go with. That is super short. That has to be even shorter than the choke adjustable one. I don't have that one anymore, but that one is definitely shorter. They all fold. You can see the difference there with the choke. and the Sig collapsible stock, and then with the UMP. All in what you want, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.